Now, day by day, Tobit kept counting how many days Tobias would need for going and for returning. And when the days had passed and his son did not appear, he said, "Is it possible that he has been detained, or that Gabriel has died, and there is no one to give him the money?" And he began to worry. His wife Anna said, "My child has perished and is no longer among the living." And she began to weep and mourn for her son, saying, "Woe to me, my child, the light of my eyes, that I let you make the journey." But Tobit kept saying to her, "Be quiet and stop worrying, my dear. He is all right. Probably something unexpected has happened there. The man who went with him is trustworthy and is one of our own kin. Do not grieve for him, my dear. He will soon be here. Be quiet yourself. Stop trying to deceive me. My child has been perished." She would rush out every day and watch the road her son had taken, and would heed no one. When the sun had set, she would go in and mourn and weep all night long, getting no sleep at all. Now when the 14 days of the wedding celebration had ended, that Raguel had sworn to observe for his daughter, Tobias came to him and said, "Send me back, for I know that my father and mother do not believe that they will see me again. So I beg of you, father, to let me go, so that I may return to my own father. I have already explained to you how I left him." But Raguel said to Tobias, "Stay, my child, stay with me. I will send messengers to your father, Tobit, and they will inform him about you." But he said, "No, I beg you to send me back to my father." So Raguel promptly gave Tobias his wife Sarah, as well as half of all his property, male and female slaves, oxen and sheep, donkeys and camels, clothing, money and household goods. Then he saw them safely off. He embraced Tobias and said, "Farewell, my child. Have a safe journey. The Lord of heaven prosper you and your wife Sarah, and may I see children of yours before I die." Then he kissed his daughter Sarah and said to her, "My daughter, honor your father-in-law and your mother-in-law, since from now on they are as much your parents as those who gave you birth. Go in peace, daughter, and may I hear a good report about you as long as I live." Then he bade them farewell and let them go. Then Edna said to Tobias, "My child and dear brother, the Lord of heaven bring you back safely, and may I live long enough to see children of you and of my daughter Sarah before I die. In the sight of the Lord, I entrust my daughter to you. Do nothing to grieve her all the days of your life. Go in peace, my child. From now on, I am your mother, and Sarah is your beloved wife. May we all prosper together all the days of our lives." And then she kissed them both and saw them safely off. Tobias parted from Raguel with happiness and joy, praising the Lord of heaven and earth, King over all, because he made his journey a success. Finally he blessed Raguel and his wife Edna, and said, "I have been commanded by the Lord to honor you all the days of my life." Tobit 11. When they came near to Castle Inn, which is opposite Nineveh, Raphael said, "You are aware of how we left your father. Let us run ahead of your wife and prepare the house while they are still on the way." As they went on together, Raphael said to him, "Have the gold ready," and the dog went along behind them. Meanwhile Anna sat looking intently down the road by which her son would come. When she caught sight of him coming, she said to his father, "Look, your son is coming," and the man who went with him. Raphael said to Tobias, before he had approached his father, "I know that his eyes will be opened. Smear the gall of the fish on his eyes. The medicine will make the white films shrink and peel off from his eyes, and your father will regain his sight and see the light." Then Anna ran up to her son and threw her arms around him, saying, "Now that I have seen you, my child, I am ready to die." And she wept. Then Tobit got up and came stumbling out through the courtyard door. Tobias went up to him with the gall of the fish in his hand, and holding him firmly, he blew into his eyes, saying, "Take courage, father." With this, he applied the medicine on his eyes, and it made them smart. Next, with both his hands, he peeled off the white films from the corner of his eyes. Then Tobit saw his son and threw his arms around him, and he wept and said to him, "I see you, my son, the light of my eyes." Then he said, "Blessed be God. Blessed be his great name, and blessed be all his holy angels. May his holy name be blessed throughout all the ages. Though he afflicted me, he has had mercy upon me. Now I see my son Tobias." So Tobit went in rejoicing and praising God at the top of his voice. Tobias reported to his father that his journey had been successful, that he had been brought the money, that he had married Raguel's daughter Sarah, and that she was indeed on her way there, very near to the gate of Nineveh. Then Tobit, rejoicing and praising God, went out to meet his daughter-in-law at the gate of Nineveh. When the people of Nineveh saw him coming, walking along in full vigor and with no one leading him, they were amazed. Before them all, Tobit acknowledged that God had been merciful to him and had restored his sight. When Tobit met Sarah, the wife of his son Tobias, he blessed her, saying, "Come in, my daughter, and welcome. Blessed be your God who has brought you to us, my daughter. Blessed be your father and your mother. Blessed be my son Tobias, and blessed be you, my daughter. Come in now to your home, and welcome with blessing and joy. Come in, my daughter." So on that day there was rejoicing among all the Jews who were in Nineveh, and Ahijah and his nephew Nadab were also present to share Tobit's joy. With merriment they celebrated Tobias' wedding feast for 7 days, and many gifts were given to him. Proverbs 23. When you sit down to eat with a ruler, observe carefully what is before you, and put a knife to your throat if you have a big appetite. Do not desire the ruler's delicacies, for they are deceptive food. Do not wear yourself out to get rich. Be wise enough to desist. When your eyes light upon it, it is gone, for suddenly it takes wings to its end, flying like an eagle toward heaven. Do not eat the bread of the stingy. Do not desire their delicacies, for like a hair in the throat, so are they. Eat and drink, they say to you, but they do not mean it. You will vomit up the little you have eaten, and you will waste your pleasant words. Do not speak in hearing of a fool, who will only despise the wisdom of your words. Do not remove an ancient landmark, or encroach on the fields of orphans, for their Redeemer is strong. He will plead their cause against you. Apply your mind to instruction and your ear to words of knowledge. Do not withhold discipline from your children. If you beat them with a rod, they will not die. If you beat them with the rod, you will save their life from Sheol. My child, if your heart is wise, my heart too will be glad. My soul will rejoice when your lips speak what is right. Do not let your heart envy sinners, but always continue in the fear of the Lord. Surely there is a future, and your hope will not be cut off. Hear, my child, and be wise, and direct your mind in the way. Do not be among wine-bibbers or among gluttonous eaters of meat, for the drunkard and the glutton will come to poverty, and drowsiness will clothe them with rags. Listen to your father who begot you, and do not despise your mother when she is old. Buy truth, and do not sell it. Buy wisdom, instruction, and understanding. The father of the righteous will greatly rejoice. He who begets a wise son will be glad in him. Let your father and mother be glad. Let her who bore you rejoice. My child, give me your heart, and let your eyes observe my ways. For a prostitute is a deep pit, and adulteress is a narrow well. She lies in wait like a robber, and increases the number of the faithless. Who has woe? Who has sorrow? Who has strife? Who has complaining? Who has wounds without cause? Who has redness of eyes? those who linger late over wine, those who keep trying mixed wines. Do not look at wine when it is red, when it sparkles in the cup and goes down smoothly. At the last it bites like a serpent and stings like an adder. Your eyes will see strange things, and your mind utter perverse things, and you will be like one who lies down in the midst of the sea, like one who lies on the top of a mast. They struck me, you will say. I was not hurt. They beat me, but I did not feel it. When shall I awake? I will seek another drink. Colossians 3. If you have been raised with Christ, seek the things that are above where Christ is seated at the right hand of God. Set your minds on the things that are above, not on things that are on earth. For you have died, and your life is hidden with Christ in God. When Christ, who is your life, is revealed, then you also will be revealed with him in glory. Put to death, therefore, whatever is in you, earthly, fornication, impurity, passion, evil desire, and greed, which is adultery. On account of these, the wrath of God is coming on those who are disobedient. These are the ways you also once followed when you were living that life, but now you must get rid of all such things: anger, wrath, malice, slander, and abusive language from your mouth. Do not lie to one another, seeing that you have stripped off the old self with its practices, and have clothed yourself with the new self, which is being renewed in knowledge and according to the image of its Creator. In that renewal there is no longer Greek and Jew, circumcised and uncircumcised, barbarians, Scythians, slave and free, but Christ is all and in all. As God's chosen ones, holy and beloved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, meekness, and patience. Bear with one another, and if anyone has a complaint against another, forgive each other. Just as the Lord has forgiven you, so you must forgive. Above all, clothe yourself with love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony. And let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, to which indeed you were called in the one body, and be thankful. Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly. Teach and admonish one another in all wisdom, and with gratitude in your heart. Sing psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs to God. And whatever you do in word or deed, do everything in the name of Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through him. Wives, be subject to your husbands, as it is fitting in the Lord. Husbands, love your wives and never treat them harshly. Children, obey your parents in everything, for this is your acceptable duty in the Lord. Fathers, do not provoke your children, or they may lose heart. Slaves, obey your earthly masters in everything, not only while being watched and in order to please them, but wholeheartedly, fearing the Lord. Whatever your task, put yourself into it as done for the Lord, and not done for your masters, since you know that from the Lord you will be receive the inheritance as your reward. You serve the Lord Christ. For the wrongdoers will be paid back for whatever wrong has been done, and there is no partiality.